The risen knight didn't plan to hurt the man, who seemed unaware of the knight's strength. He was determined to stop this murder tonight, and just then, Klein followed closely behind back to town, teaming up to stop the man's foot. But the man simply ignored his advice, so Klein had to jump in and, finding the right moment, forcibly whisk the man. He knew they couldn't defeat this fearsome foe, yet the enraged Headless Knight wouldn't spare them. Klein was soon wounded by the knight's arrow. The man was split in half, and Klein fainted at the sight. Time's Earl, upon waking, Klein told all that the Headless Knight didn't kill randomly, his target stole his head. In other words, the mysterious thief of the knight's head was the real villain. But Fantasso disagreed with Klein, suggesting he might just be Was he just overreacting? What was the real deal here? If Klein was right, then who was the sneaky thief that took the knight's head, and what was their motive? To get to the bottom of this mystery quickly, Klein reviewed everything that had happened. Klein recalled how terrified the murdered sheriff and the pastor had seemed, and oh, did they ever fight? Klein suspected a conspiracy was afoot. Perhaps the head thief was among them. A little boy's words rang in Klein's mind. Fantasso and the deceased Vangela were related, and as the once wealthy folks of the decapitated valley, Vangela's family passed away, leaving their fortune to Fantasso. It hit Klein like a ton of bricks, so he sought out the town's notary, Harden, to inspect Vangela's will. Harden revealed that Vangela's assets were meant for his son, but he stumbled upon something crucial at the deceased's home. Klein then discovered Vangela's marriage certificate to the widow, realizing they had tied the knot in secret. This meant that the widowed jury's child was, in fact, Vangela's legitimate kid. So, that's why he left the estate to the widow. See, talk about family drama. Things got even more convoluted. Klein confirmed illegitimacy, but felt dizzy. Subtitles: he is destined to go back to hell, becoming a fortunate person who has either gained everything or lost everything, along with the others. A real mama's boy from Bangkok nights, but the truth was way more tangled than Klein had ever imagined. Just then, Klein returned to his room and found Fantasso's daughter, Katrina, right there with him. Katrina seemed to catch on to Klein suspecting her dad, but she kept it to herself and slipped away. But after she left, Klein stumbled upon a cursed eye symbol painted on her bedroom ceiling. Klein didn't think much of it until the next day, when he found the evidence in his drawer had mysteriously vanished. Suddenly, it dawned on him it had to be Katrina who took the evidence. Soon he found her. Sure enough, Katrina was burning evidence to prevent Klein from accusing Fantasso. She believed the person controlling the Headless Knight couldn't possibly be her father, but Klein countered. If Fantasso was innocent, why would the sheriff, pastor, and notary Harden hide the truth about his inheritance? Katrina had no clue, saying Klein needed to sort all this out himself. Then the scene shifted, and a terrified Fantasso rushed home to inform Klein and his wife that the notary Harden had committed suicide at home. Now everyone was on edge, and crucially, people believed Klein was somehow responsible for Harden's death. After all, he was the last one to see Harden, prompting the townsfolk to call an emergency meeting at the church. They were gearing up to gang up on Klein, so Fantasso warned him to beat it while he still could. But how could Klein flee without uncovering the truth? Night fell before anyone knew it, as everyone flocked to the church when Fantasso suddenly froze, telling Katrina that she had just witnessed the Headless Knight offing her mirror. That's right, his wife. Before Fantasso could say anything else, there he was, the Headless Knight, galloping straight toward the church, sending everyone into a panic. Everyone dashed into the church, including Klein, but surprisingly, the knight halted in his tracks outside. What a twist. At that moment, the pastor grabbed Fantasso's collar, saying the knight would kill him, leaving everyone more panicked. What was going on? Amid the chaos, Fantasso pulled out a gun at the pastor, warning that anyone who dared lay a hand on him was a dead man. But before the doctor could spill the beans, the pastor zapped him with the crust. One hell of a plot twist. Simultaneously, the pastor was shot by Fantasso, who learned from the doctor that all the mess in town was a grand conspiracy. He promised everyone he'd uncover the truth, but it seemed he'd run out of time. Just then, the knight broke off a fence post and tied it to a rope and tossed it into the church. What a grand entrance. Post went right through Fantassa's heart. Turns out he was the knight's target all along. Fantassa's demise confirmed he wasn't the one controlling the knight, but who was. After all that, it seemed the case was back to square one. At that moment, Klein turned to find a wizard's eye rune in the church. Katrina, grief-stricken over Fantassa's death, held a chalk. Klein realized something. He suspected Katrina controlled the knight with magic. Heartbroken, he left town, refusing to believe his love could be a killer. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.